during the call, Hans got called out and he didn't answer the question. One of the calls, I think it was like the last one or maybe the second to last one. They were like, "Yo, account growth is negative, even though your line growth is positive. What's the business?" Hans decided not to answer it. He deferred to Sampath, and then Sampath spoke to the prepaid to postpaid transition being a big factor, and then he started to talk about immigration about that. He did say that account growth grew in Q4, and that makes sense because they had so many net adds. So, I mean, that totally makes sense. And then he kind of called to the perks and the savings. He talked about protection and cloud products being sold pretty well. But, I mean, people are noticing that. They're noticing that on the year, you have less accounts than you did to start the year. And then the same thing the previous year and the same thing the previous year.
That might change now that they have the price increase with customers of 5 lines or more. So maybe you get more assumption liabilities to customers so they go to 4 lines in order to be able to escape that price increase. I don't know. I'm not sure how the math works out.
That'd be interesting.
Well, I mean, people.
I think that people are going to port out. To be honest.
You think people are going to port? You said.
I mean, rather than migrate off onto their own account, absolutely.
Yeah, got you. Okay.
That's what these big companies don't understand is when you put an inconvenience like that in front of a customer, they're just going to leave.
Is the customer more comfortable leaving now than ever?
With every company, absolutely.
When the other guys raise prices, there'll be nowhere to go, and it's going to happen this year. So,
but
I mean, so be it.
What I'm saying, B, is that your logic behind there being some sort of assumption of liability or account transfers within postpaid accounts, it's not going to happen. You're just going to have lines that are going to port out to a different carrier
and say a phone deal or something.
Yeah.
I mean, and they might. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm just saying like that assumption liability, that option, it's an option. It's something that could be done. Now, if they port out because they're trying to save $15 a month, by all means, do what you got to do. But I'm just saying that's an option. I'm also saying the other carrier is going to raise prices as well. So eventually, you're not going to have anywhere to run because, again, the industry needs to increase revenue because everybody's in debt.
My follow-up question to you is that how much longer can Verizon employ that mentality of, oh, if people port out, so be it? Because I don't think that's.
They're monitoring that churn rate.
What's the alternative? Because again, they paid $52 billion for an asset. What's the alternative? When you raise prices and you still report to the street that your revenue grew 2%, whereas other companies in the S&P 500 are growing revenues in the tens every single quarter. What is the company? What is the company supposed to do? Like the fact that people are so upset over $15 when they're getting a better overall value proposition from all these companies collectively is ridiculous. It really, really is, man. I mean, we're splitting hairs over less than $20. Like if people are that, harder for sales, again, I get it. I understand. I acknowledge everybody's in different places. But if it's that bad, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but the people have been cutting all types of stuff, B. I mean, you had people that
go ahead.
You used to have people with like 6, 7 streaming services. They're down to 2. Everything got reduced, right? So like if you had 5 of something, you started buying 3. If you had 2 of something, you went down to 1. Things that you didn't necessarily need, you cut off completely. That's been going on for a couple of years because of the inflation, obviously. And then people are taking on so much credit debt that we have like high default stuff. We've got, used car sales. Like if you monitor all these things and you see the lowest amount of savings, I mean, banks are telling all, dude.
Meanwhile, banking profitability is at like all-time highs right now.
So you're speaking of the industry. You're not speaking to the consumer.
Well, I mean, like if you look at the S&P 500, for example, all 500, the top 500 companies, most of them have reported really, really solid earnings growth. All 2024. If the consumer was that broke or whatever, multiple industries would really, really be suffering. Listen. Again, I'm going to say it again because I don't think that you're wrong. I agree that the overall consumer is stressed financially. I
You
do
talk
agree
about
with
the
that. And
S&P 500, every single one of those companies has established a moat where customers have to buy their services. There's nowhere to go. Like they have businesses and products that consumers must interface with. And
agreed.
then so it's I can't say, "Oh, I'm not going to go to the S&P 500 company. I'm going to go to the small cap company to do it," when they don't offer that same thing. Bro,
Exactly.
S&P 500 companies have essentially established moats that I don't even want to say monopoly, but they've made it so nobody else really counts.